Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cryptocurrent. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today we got a very special one for you. You've probably heard of this app. You've probably played this app. And I know I personally have done both. It's really cool. It took the world by storm. And there's a lot of really cool things along the way. Today we have Shiti, who is the COO of FSL, and is also the CEO of STEPN. How's everyone? How are you doing today?
Hi, Richard. Thanks for having me here. Really excited to be here. FSL is Find Satoshi Labs. That is the parent company of STEPN, More, Door, and all of the products that we churn out from this amazing lab.
Well, I'm excited to learn more about all of those. But before we do, let's learn a little bit more about you. Can you give us a little bit of background on yourself?
Of course. My name is Shiti. I started my career after doing engineering and MBA in the marketing world. So started from India, then moved on to US, worked with the likes of PepsiCo, came to Europe, headed Europe and UK for some leading manufacturing on 3D printing of food. And it's always on the confluence of sort of engineering, technology, and business. Then moved to Portugal, Spain, France, Italy. Worked through length and breadth, and about a few years ago came to the UK. Here I started my own startup based in AI and fitness, which would track movements. And from there on, the progression to fitness space and looking for better private technologies that handle consumer data well led me onto blockchain. And long story short, I discovered STEPN and loved everything about the vision, about the founders when I talked to them. We were very early on that time. We were not even an app. We were in just flights. So just loved their vision, joined them, not knowing that this would then go on to become one of the biggest apps in web3, would shake volumes on exchanges, would flip sometimes BTC and ETH also on the volume. So here we are.
That is an amazing journey. So world traveler, have done a lot in the world of marketing. So you found your way into AI fitness, found STEPN, and now working with them. But what was that first introduction into blockchain and crypto? Like, when did you first learn about it? And when did you start to get a little bit interested in trying to potentially find a way into that industry?
Great question. So actually, when I was working on my startup, we had a government-funded project. So we were funded by government for $250,000 for this project with older adults, basically tracking their movements, helping their recovery using AI in remote circumstances. It was COVID, right? So helping remote care. In all of that, there were two big challenges. One was onboarding 50 plus year olds onto the technology, onto the platform. That was like a tech literacy challenge. The second, biggest one, was around data privacy, right? So not only these people had challenges with technology, they also had challenges with data safeguarding. That led me on to discovering better technology, better platform, better services that could help this seamlessly. First, I started looking in all the segments itself. And then I think by now everybody I've spoken to have in some way traveled down this rabbit hole of blockchain, right? Bitcoin, whether it has been price action, whether it has been utility, whether it has been NFTs. So it was my turn. I traveled down this rabbit hole for like a weekend first, then week, and then it became weeks and then a month. I was like really drawn into the several use cases, potential, political, social, all kind of ramifications, financial. I think we all know we are very, very early, but I see this as something which will eventually fade away into background of something inevitable. What I mean by that is the best technologies are the ones that are invisible. So electricity, right? Everything in our world today runs on electricity, medical, government, education, all kind of infrastructure. But we don't sit and marvel, oh my God, what a wonderful technology that is, right?
Right.
Then came the internet, then came the smartphones. I think blockchain has that potential to be the operating layer for everything from here on.
And I think that's a really great reminder of when you build something or have a technology that is so ingrained that you don't even realize you're using it, that's when you've really hit critical mass. And we are far away from that. But something that is really cool that we can look at with STEPN, for a lot of people who are already used to apps and fitness and everything else, they were used to applications that if you did like, fitness things, then it would track you and do other things. But STEPN was one of the first ones to then blend a gamification around, well, how about you do this fitness and get paid? So walk us down the journey of you just joined STEPN, they're in test flight, and it doesn't necessarily need to be in Web3. It didn't have to be, but y'all decided to go in that direction. So kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, very, very, very good question. So in fact, initially I used to get asked this a lot, that why are you building a fitness app on blockchain, right? Here's why. Four big reasons, I think. One is that there are more incentives to stay fit. There are rewards of community. There are rewards in app. Second is ownership and selling in-game assets, which is NFTs, in real life with no friction. I think all of us are waking up to the fact that you can play Fortnite for hours and actually spend hundreds and thousands of dollars, if not more, in buying those game assets, but they have very little value in real world, except if you went on dark web and best or worst case happened to sell them on darknet. The third is ensuring supply and demand via a sustainable tokenomics. And last but not the least, and I think one of the most important ones, is network effects, right? So startups have this big problem which is called the cold start problem, of how to build that first community, how to build that initial momentum. And I think network effects are heavily solved by using crypto and tokenomics like we did, ensuring bringing millions of users onto Web3 eventually.
So let's break those down. So I really appreciate you breaking down those four distinct reasons why y'all went in this direction. When you were building this out and just looking at apps that have gone on to have massive success, I want to first start with community and network effect, because that's what really gets you to critical mass very, very quickly. What initial, marketing and things that you do that really took on that ability to have that network effect? And I'm going to guess here, was it the ability that the only way that you could get in was that someone had to invite you? Because I remember back when people were first hearing about this and the friction of oh, this is exclusive, you can't get in unless you have a friend or someone recommend, and then there's a code, all this other kind of stuff. So then it gave people that extra I want to get in. I'm assuming that was some of that network effect, but I'll let you take it.
Yes, indeed. Our community is one of our most precious and treasured assets, to be honest. We keep a close ear to the ground in terms of the fact we also have a customer service team, which very few Web3 companies have. So we constantly process feedback, complaints, feature requests, demands from the community, not to mention, of course, Twitter and Discord, which help us stay close in touch with them. In fact, tomorrow we have a founder Discord AMA. We constantly had these AMAs with founders in the beginning. I think one big layer that also happens in our case is real life meetups, right? Because of this being an app where you can actually move, run, jog with people in fitness. This is one of the biggest things. You are accountable to your gym instructors, your community, your buddies, and that accountability really drives retention. So in our case, that really helps. There were at a point there were meetups that were happening in every part of the world, right? So LA, Miami, Philippines, Singapore, Australia, in Melbourne, Sydney, London, Birmingham, Taipei. So from east to west, north to south, every part of the world, there were meetups happening. And when you would go to these meetups, these would not just be crypto bros. These would be people with their spouses, people with babies in push prams, people with their dogs. So it's a very wholesome community, which sort of drives belongingness and further adoption.
And it was cool to be able to see these different communities really come together. Now, for some reason, if someone has heard of STEPN but has never used the app and is curious about it, what's a quick description that you would give to describe STEPN?
So it's you download this app from your app store on iOS or Android. Once you downloaded the app and gotten an NFT sneaker, you can then move, jog, or run in order to get our GMT or GST, which are our two in-game currencies or tokens, and then you can swap them for USDC or other cryptocurrencies.
So literally, you get on this app, you do movement, you get a native token, and then you can then use that native token to get into a stable coin and off ramp that way. And I think it's really cool. When I knew STEPN was going to be massive was when you found a way to get on major exchanges as quickly as you did. Can you walk us through that journey? Because I thought that was remarkable how quickly y'all were able to get on some pretty established exchanges.
Yeah, I wish there was something that we did. To be honest, all we did and we still do is focus on product and community. Like it's not funny how focused we are on building the right product and building the right community. And this is a good segue for us to talk a little bit about FSL and not just STEPN. So the parent company, which is Find Satoshi Labs, we launched STEPN about a year ago. And since then, we've actually launched 3 very big products in this space. So we have a front end and we have a back end. We're building both consumer side and demand side applications, meaning infrastructure as well as consumer apps that onboard users from Web 2 onto Web 3. So STEPN is a big one. I wish I can say more, but there are more coming. There are more coming. Yes, from the same people who have built FSL, there is a consumer side app that is launching very soon. So that's as much as alpha as I can drop. So that's the consumer side of applications. Then once the users are onboarded onto these apps, what are their needs? Their needs are liquidity swaps. Their needs are trading NFTs. Their needs are maybe launching their own NFT projects as creative as our crypto spaces. And for that, we've built the infrastructure side of our ecosystem. So we've got our own DEX, which is called DOOR, DOOR. It's number 1 on Solana already. It's also on BSC Ethereum, so multi-chain. We have launched our own NFT launchpad as well as marketplace. That's called More, MOOR. And that's also multi-chain on Solana and Ethereum. And the win-win for community is that all of the value capture and value accrual comes back to GMT. So imagine that being the center of the solar system, the sun that powers the solar system. So that's how we're building this robust and absolutely fantastic product suite ecosystem with GMT at its core.
Thank you for dropping the alpha. The community here definitely always loves some alpha. And I think it's really awesome to see how you were able to get your ecosystem to revolve around your son, which you said is GMT, and you are constantly innovating. You're adding more. You're trying to, again, have a pulse on your community to see what innovations you can continue to make them to make your ecosystem that much greater. So again, it's wild to think that STEPN's only been around for about a year and the success it's already had. And you already have a game plan for where to take it into the future and some other things that you're going to be building. How do you see not just the ecosystem around STEPN evolving in 2023? Because I mean, again, you launched during pretty much a bear market and still crushed it, still found a way to have a lot of success. I can't even imagine how much more success you would have had in a different crypto ecosystem and environment. How do you see this ecosystem continuing to evolve as we head into 2023?
Yeah, we're very much into 2023. It's almost 2 months are over. Quarter is over, right? I think with us, the thing is that we keep our heads down and we build. The market that we are in right now allows us to do that even more, right? So all the noise, distraction, hype is gone. True followers of the space are left. Or if I may dare say, some of the bad actors and bad capital gets flushed out. So again, true followers of the space, true believers of the space remain. And in these times, it's not only more productive to build, but you also get true signals on if what you're building is right? Because if it hits a chord with these people, that means there is value. That means there is true, genuine value. So I wish there was more complicated science that I could tell you about it, but we're a team of like genuine builders, people who have either led or built their own startups, or people who are familiar with gaming, crypto, blockchain. So it's a nice mix of people and talents who have come together to build stuff that adds value to the world.
And I love the focus on product and building something that your end audience wants. And I know we've spent a good amount of time on community, and I know that's something that you're really passionate about, but I think that everyone in the Web3 world is all about building these incredible communities, but they don't know where to start, or they're able to build some initial momentum and then they can't sustain it. They can't keep it. Just from your experience through STEPN and just throughout your career, what do you think are some impactful ways that people can really start to generate and retain really good community?
Great question. So when we started, again, people gave us like tops 2 months, 3 months, even when we were at the peak, like this project is going to die. This project is going to, even now when market is like under deep capitulation, we're not only going strong, we believe in giving back. I think if I could boil down everything to one strategy, that is giving back. We've not done any fancy sponsorships, any fancy promotions, any splashy marketing. We just did a massive airdrop. We concluded it this weekend to our Genesis sneaker holders. So our Genesis NFT holders. It was one of, I think, biggest ever, which means there was over 4,000 GMT airdrop to our common sneaker holders, 8,000 GMT airdrop to uncommon sneaker holders, 16,000 GMT airdrop to rare, and 32,000 GMT airdrop to epic sneaker holder. I'm talking per NFT, and we have got millions and millions of users, so you can imagine. So this is what we do. We build the product the right way, the way people want to use it. And then once people use it and stick with us, we reward them. As simple as that. This is the best and the most sustainable way to build communities and to ensure that the business is run in an ethical, sustainable manner. We do our best to add externalities, to add external revenue streams. We partner with big brands, as we've done in case of Atletico Madrid, ASICS, Line, and several of the partnerships that are going to happen. We believe in building and partnering with healthy communities, even within Web3 space, not just outside. Last but not the least, since you were talking about people don't know where to start when they're building communities here. I know it's a self-plug, but I want to mention about More. So More is our NFT launchpad. Once again, as a team, we believe in the idea of utility behind NFTs. That's what we've done with STEPN. I mean, some say that our digital sneaker is even better than a real sneaker in getting people out and about, right? So that's how much useful that is. And similar way, we encourage projects with utility behind their NFTs to apply for our launchpad. So season 2 is going on right now. We concluded season 1. The season 1's winner hype scenes actually went more than 20x in floor price. So do your own research. This is not investment advice, but this is just an example of the kind of ammunition that we are able to provide as a team through our marketing support, through our ambassador communities, through our network. to build these startups. And I call them startups, not just NFT projects, because they are building real value in real world. So yes, if you're one of those startups, do please check out more.com and see if that is something you'd like to try out.
I think that's excuse me. I think that's incredible. So adding value back to your community, one way that y'all did that was through a recent airdrop, one of the largest of all time, which I think is really cool. And we've seen some different companies do it different ways, but it looks like the way that STEPN has been able to implement it, there's been a lot of great feedback and your community is very happy about how you went about it. And then for all of those who are looking to build community, more could be a really cool launch pad to get some things going. So thank you for plugging that into giving us more information on that. You've been able to drop a significant amount of really great information for us and how and what everything that excuse me, FSL is working on, as well as STEPN. But I want to kind of wrap it and kind of go in a different direction as we kind of wrap today's show. You've learned a tremendous amount in your years of doing this. If you could go impart 1 or 2 pieces of wisdom to yourself when you first got started on your journey, what would you tell yourself?
Great question. Often I don't get asked in the crypto podcasts, but this is sort of like a life advice. I was lucky to have good role models throughout my journey. And I've learned a lot from them in both people and businesses. So as COO at FSL, my role entails in growing. First, it was to grow STEPN and now grow the entire company, which is FSL, right? And that growth essentially comes in people and in business. So people are a big part of that. And what I've learned through my years is ethical behavior, result orientation, strong character, and insane discipline. Right? I have repeatedly seen the best and the most successful people have some degree of mix of these characteristics. Like some would peak on business ethics, some would peak on result orientation, some would peak on the strength of their character and resilience, and some on discipline. But it's essentially a potent mix of that. And a base hygiene that I would say is that of growth mindset. Like whether you call it hustle, hunger, you call it the will and ambition, you call it grit, resilience, I think it all boils down to the fact that you want to improve no matter what. You take feedback and you improve. You take feedback and you improve. And once that is non-negotiable, positive feedback loop, driven towards results, nothing can stop you. It's unstoppable.
I think that is excellent. Everyone listening, go back, run that back a couple times. I think that is really, really amazing advice and just a great way to build towards success. I definitely want to co-sign the growth mindset. It's amazing how just having the right kind of mindset can help improve not just your life, but all the things that you're aspiring towards, and even aligning you more in the direction of where you're ultimately trying to go, whether it be in your everyday life, in your business life, romantic life, et cetera. So I think that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Also, just because you are unique in a heavy marketing mindset, I think it would be incredible to hear from you for companies who are really trying to get to a place where they are building tremendous product right now. They've been heads down during these various times, and eventually they're gonna have to get on the other side of this, and they're like, all right, now's our time. Here's how we get after this. What do you think are some of those first steps that they can be taking right now before that wave comes? And I know, again, a lot of it was centered around community, but what are some of those other things that, necessarily people aren't necessarily thinking about, but maybe they should be thinking about?
I think we're all early. And therefore, what it means is that adoption is going to be a primary focus of whoever, whatever does in this space. And the way we will succeed is when adoption happens. So anything that builds towards streamlining that Web2 to Web3 bridge is going to win in long term. It could be something as simple, well, it's not simple or neither easy, but it could be a streamlining wallet service. It could be simplifying onboarding process like STEPN did. It could be real world utility to your NFTs like we did. In our case, it was also fueled by the fact that we converted the actions that you would anyway do in Web2. And we found a way to build community and accountability in Web3 through that, right? So it could be the technology solutions that simplify the onboarding process. It could be the solution itself, like addressing a wallet. Like at some point in my vision, there will be a wallet address that becomes your identity. What I mean by that is that today you have Facebook login or email login as your identity to sign into web products, right? Any app that you download, you have to sign. At some point, if blockchain is inevitability, that universal sign-in will become your wallet. And we're far, 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 far off from that. So anything between now and towards that goal that helps simplify that process will win.
I think that is golden, and I agree with you. I think that is probably the clearest way that it can really, people can click for. Like, think about Facebook came out, and Facebook got so big that other apps basically said, like, oh, you have a Facebook account, you can now log in and use our account just based on the fact that you own this. And that took years to get to. And I agree that we're probably years away before a wallet address then becomes that way that people log in and do that. But in the in-betweens, you laid out some really great ways that people can be innovating and going towards that path to more critical mass adoption. So you've given us a ton of gems. Thank you so much for all the amazing information. As we wrap up here, what is a final thought that you want to leave with all the listeners?
If you're listening to this, please know that you are a very early adopter of very early technology. So please believe in here, build with a growth mindset, and there's a lot of success to be had.
Definitely. Well, Shiti, thank you so much for spending some time with us. For everyone listening, you can go to stepn.com for more information. They have a ton of other ways that they can connect, and I will let you say some of the different ways that people can best either reach out to you or learn more about STEPN.
Of course. You can go on to our Twitter, check out stepn.com, more.com. Try out our Launchpad if you're a builder. And if you want to reach out to me personally, I'm on Twitter at Shiti Rastogi. See you there.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. And as always, for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.